Hi everyone, it's me Tanisha. If this is the first video you're seeing from me, my name is Tanisha. I'm from Southern California. I'm 35 years old. I'm currently a paraeducator. I work with special ed students as an instructional assistant. I'm also a massage therapist. I've done that for 11 years. I've worked with kids on and off 11 years as a substitute teacher for middle school kids, after school program briefly here and there, and 2 years as a teacher's aide for the middle schools. Um, my videos usually consist of like concert stuff, but the past year I've done videos about um, me applying for like online teaching jobs, VIP Kid, 5 1 Talk, Magic Ears. So that's what most of my videos have been about. I'm trying to add some more content to my videos. I'm not the most vocal person. I'm not someone who likes to put myself out there, but there's a lot of important stuff going on out there, and I am in the future trying to be a history teacher for secondary schools, either middle school or high school. And a lot of the stuff that's going on right now, I'm going to have to be talking about with future students. So I thought I would do this video just to kind of express my opinion about certain things. This video is going to be about the March for Life. That has to do with gun violence, which is very much needed. Just been kind of watching stuff, all of the marches today, which is like amazing to see people, use the First Amendment rights and speak their mind in a very peaceful way, peaceful and classy way. There was one nearby to me in San Bernardino, maybe like 15 minutes away. If you remember in 2015, San Bernardino, where I'm in Rialto, right next to San Bernardino. San Bernardino is we're about an hour east of LA. So we're basically right in between LA and Palm Springs. We unfortunately had a shooting in 2015 in December. Luckily, I didn't know anyone who died, but I had a friend from high school, her sister was killed. And they've been very proactive in trying to make sure that the wrong people don't have access to guns, especially the machine gun AR-15 military weapons. Their father was a police officer, from what I've heard, and they were just saying that, regular civilians don't need access to those weapons. If you're not in the military, if you're not police, you don't need that. I personally have no issue with people owning guns. I know a lot of gun owners, and they're very responsible people. And obviously, there's weirdos out there. There's, you know, robbers, rapists. I meant there are racist, but I meant rapists. Just bad people in general. So you need to protect yourself. I don't have an issue with that. I personally have no interest in owning a gun. I don't really feel like I need to. I understand what people do, but it's just with this whole thing with, shootings happening in the schools and in churches and in movie theaters, where else, the mall, whatever. And it just seems like it's happening more and more, or maybe we're just hearing about it more because of social media. I don't know. I just realized that something needs to be done about it. I mean, can you prevent every single crime from happening? Absolutely not. And I've kind of been hearing both sides, and many pro-gun people are like, oh, well, you're punishing the people who do nothing wrong. And it's like, no one's punishing anyone. We're trying to make sure that the wrong people don't get access to guns. That's common sense. I don't want someone who's a gang member. I don't want someone who has domestic violence background, someone who has any type of violent background, someone with mental health issues. That's common sense. I wouldn't want them owning a weapon. And me as a woman, I have to worry about my safety, worry about, guys being inappropriate. What if one of them pulls a gun on me or something because they're mentally unstable? I just heard a story recently which was really disturbing. A 16-year-old girl was murdered by a guy with a machine gun because she turned him down. The guy was 25. She wouldn't give him his number, and he found out where she lived and just shot her up with a machine gun because she said, no, I won't give you my phone number. As a woman, we're allowed to say no, we're not interested. So as a woman, that's scary. Like, what if I say no to a guy? Oh, he pulls a gun on me and does something to me. It's scary. Um, as I mentioned before, sorry. As I mentioned before, I sorry, I'm doing this all in one take. I'm not editing. Um, I work with kids, and luckily we've never had any crazy incidents or anything, but you know, luckily the schools I work at, we have some type of security guard there. Um, we just never had any incidents. I mean, I have no issue with schools having, what's it called? Metal detectors. I have no issue with that. I think all schools should have that just for safety and security, because in elementary schools kids can easily grab something maybe they shouldn't be grabbing and taking it to school, and oh hey, let me show this off, not necessarily with malice intention, but any kid could find their parent's gun or bring a knife on campus or whatever. And high school kids, middle school kids, same thing. Oh, hey, let me show this off. Or maybe some kids being bullied, they might try to do something. I have no issue with metal detectors and security on campus. That's just needed. Also, because, if a kid's getting in a fight or something, whatever. But then I've heard some people say, oh, well, it's too much like a jail. Well, what's the solution? Number one, we should have metal detectors. Number two, security on campus. I have no issue with that. Number three, make sure people don't have access to military weapons. Military weapons create maximum impact injury. If you're shooting, if someone were to decide to, I'm going to go to the mall and do a shooting, and all they have is a handgun, they can only shoot off a few shots, and then they have to reload. Whereas if someone has a machine gun, they could do maximum impact injury and just kill multiple people at once, shoot them multiple times. Um, yeah, and it's just kind of sad to see some of the pro gun people just really not care. People are dying, and we're not just talking about just like random shootings. Like there's gang shootings. There's just like I said, just random shootings for robbery or for whatever, and um, yeah, it's just really sad that to see some people just really not care. It seems like some people are like, well, if it doesn't affect me, then I don't care. Like, I personally can't relate to gun violence. I don't know anything. I don't know anyone, knock on wood, who's been killed by gun violence. I don't. But, I'm not in the most safe area. And also, again, I work at a school district, so who knows what could happen one day. Um, excuse me again. So, again, as a woman, I have to, watch out for my safety. And yeah, it's just people need to be compassionate and empathetic. I remember hearing when the kids were killed in Sandy Hook, and the parents were speaking out about, mental health issues and making sure people that are mentally ill don't have access to like weapons. Many pro gun people, they said, were attacking them, sending them death threats. And it's like their child was just slaughtered, and you're just worried about your gun, not worried about how these people were affected. You're not worried about that. You're just worried about yourself. And I remember the Vegas shooting. I know someone who lost a friend in the Vegas shooting, and someone who was in the Vegas shooting, he's very, pro gun, doesn't want to see any guns taken away from anyone, no matter what the situation is. And he ended up being a victim of the shooting. He wasn't shot, but he knew people that were. And he posted something on Twitter, and he goes, I hate to say this, but he goes, the only reason I didn't care before was because I wasn't affected. He goes, now that I'm affected, now I care. And that's sad. You shouldn't have to only be affected by it to care about it. You should care about it before, because anyone could be a victim of gun violence at any time. I could be robbed. I could be raped by someone at gunpoint. Something could happen to me. It's just common sense to make sure that the wrong people don't have access to it. Again, not punishing the bad people, but I don't care if you have a handgun, I don't care if you have a rifle, but military weapons, no one should have that. I don't feel like any civilian should overpower the police, overpower the military. If a gang member, domestic violence, someone in someone's family does something wrong and the police come, and you have a military weapon there, the police are overpowered by the civilian. That's what I'm saying. People aren't thinking about individual situations. And then I've heard some people say, well, if you take away guns, people are going to find other ways to do things. Yeah. But what causes the maximum impact? Machine guns. If you see all these shootings, no one was using a handgun or a rifle. They were using machine guns. You rarely hear about knives being used. You rarely hear about, unfortunately, we've had a few bomb issues, but that's a few people. Whereas, again, with machine guns, I mean, look at Vegas, 500 people were shot within a very short period of time because you could just shoot so many people multiple times. And just, I wish people would have more compassionate empathy and sympathy for others instead of being like, well, stop talking about this issue. Well, bad things happen. If you get shot, then, maybe that was what was meant to happen to you. You're meant to be shot and die young. It's like, wow, really? I don't know. Like I said, I'm very proud of the people that stood up for their rights, stood up for children's rights and human rights in general. I'm very proud of the youngsters that came together because, this batch of teenagers and tweens, they don't really have the best reputation because, many of them are very self-absorbed with social media and worried about brand name shoes and iPhones and Kardashians and all that stuff. So it's good to see youngsters come together and be like, you know what? People aren't taking us seriously because we're kids, but we're going to have a voice. And I hope if I have kids one day that I'm going to teach them to stand up for their rights. And then eventually, like I said, when I become a history teacher, we could have these discussions about things going on in the world. It's like very important to me. So I think that's all I have to say about the March for Life. Again, if you watch this video and you're pro-gun, I don't have anything against you having a gun. I just don't think you need to have a military weapon. There's no reason for it. I have no issue with you having a handgun or a rifle. Like I said, there's weirdos out there, and then obviously people hunt. So you use a rifle. You don't need a machine gun to hunt. I have yet to hear one good reason why someone should have a machine gun. All I heard so far was, well, because we can. That's not good enough for me. And again, the March for Life isn't taking away guns from every single person. No, it's just making sure the mentally ill, the violent people, the gang members, those type of people don't have it. And making sure that people don't have assault rifles. You just don't need one. You're not the military, you're not the police. The military needs. I was on Twitter and many military people said we have to have a written test, we have to have a mental health exam to have access to those. So they said, why should a regular civilian? Boom, just get it. Here you go. With no mental health exam, nothing. So like I said, again, if you watch this and you're pro-gun, I have no issue with you having a gun. No issue. Most people don't have an issue with someone owning a gun. They just want to make sure that you're in the right state of mind. You shouldn't be against a background check unless you have something to hide. So that's it. Um, yeah, if you're pro-gun and you want to have a discussion, we can have a discussion. If you're for background checks or whatever, we can have a discussion about that. It's all positive. It's not trying to be, oh, if you're pro-gun, you're an evil so-and-so. Well, unless you don't care. If you don't have empathy for victims, then we're gonna have a problem. But if you do care, but then you have issues with certain things, then that can be discussed, as long as it's not in a hateful way. So, that's all I have to say for now. And yeah, that's it. If you want to subscribe to my channel, please subscribe. And that's it. Bye.